Hi everyone, Sarah here. We're going to be talking about the stages of grief today. And I think this is really important because there's so many different understandings of the stages of grief. And you can experience grief for a number of different things. It's not just death, it's not just one thing or another, right? It can be that someone is still alive, but you're experiencing grief because of the loss of the connection with them, the loss of the relationship with them. It generally comes with some sort of loss. So there are different things out there. I'm just going to put that out there. With that said, there are different things out there that say there are a certain number of stages, and there are different ways that you go through each stage. Is it possible to bypass some of the stages with the understanding that generally the last stage is the hope and acceptance stage? Do you have to go through every stage of grief? Do you go through the stages of grief in a particular order? Are there 7 stages of grief? Are there 8 stages of grief? Are there 5 stages of grief? And what's the direction you go through them? How long does it take to go through each of them? And can you bypass some of them? Those are all incredible, wonderful, very good questions. So we're going to dive into those today as we dive into the different stages of grief. Okay. Whether you believe there are 7 stages, whether you believe there are 5 stages, whether you believe there's 2 stages, you simply go from shock to acceptance of this. It doesn't really matter. All of those are beliefs, all of those are theories, and all of those are different things that you may hear. What really matters is what you believe about what you hear. And so many people who've experienced or are experiencing grief, which is loss in some sense, are experiencing a particular set of beliefs about themselves. So we're going to go through this because I recently saw that someone shared, and it kind of made me laugh. So I hear that there's 7 stages of loss or grief. I think I've been stuck in this stage for the last month, whatever stage it is. And I'm realizing that there's another stage. So now we have a theory that there are 8 stages. I'm in the hate stage. And as you look at the 7 stages of grief, as you look at the 5 stages of grief, none of those are called the hate stage. So that just goes to show and goes to prove that we create and we develop our own beliefs. I believe I'm stuck in the hate stage. How long am I going to be stuck in this hate stage? I know it's kind of a strong word. I don't think I've ever hated anyone. It kind of sucks. It really sucks. I never thought I'd be saying that today. Here's the thing. When you're processing grief, you say things that you never thought you'd be saying today. I never thought I would say, well, there's actually 8 stages. And that is connected and linked to a particular belief about yourself. The projection and the belief that there is an 8th stage of the grief cycle, or stages or levels or layers, whatever it is an experience, is an expression of a feeling that's based upon a belief system, a foundation. So traditionally, let's look at the 7 stages of grief. Number 1, right? And who says it's number 1? Because it may also be number 5. It may be number 4. It may be number 3. Is shock and denial. Right? And generally that happens in the beginning of whatever it is that you're experiencing the loss of. Most people react when experiencing or hearing about the loss for the first time with kind of a shock, right? Shock, denial. No. It's like when someone is breaking up from you, let's use the analogy of the loss of a relationship. Perhaps you had fantasize in your head, this is the one, this is the person, I'm going to marry them, and we're going to get married, and we're going to live happily ever after in a white picket fence. We're going to have 2 kids, we're going to have a dog, and it's just, life is just going to be beautiful. And this person you found out was cheating on you and is leaving you, is going to marry the other person, is going to have the wedding and the life of your dreams, but not with you. And you hear this and you just go, no, this isn't happening. This can't be happening. And you're in the first stage, the shock, and in the denial. And you can hear that in your words and in your language. No. Well, yes, that's happening. But you're now in the grief shock stage, in the denial stage. At this level, you're in this stage to try and avoid some pain. No, because this future that I had is the future that I had, and it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. How can I go on? How can I live? And you're overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed with its news, receiving the news of the loss. Your life is going to be lived out by someone else, not you. And you're in this belief it's never going to happen, because the only way it was going to happen is if it happened with that person, and if it happened in this time and in that way. You could still have 2 kids, a white picket fence, and a live happily ever after story, but no. You're in the stage of denial and shock because it had to happen, was supposed to happen, was meant to happen with that person, and you had it all planned out. So that's generally the first stage of loss, of grief, right? And then there's stage 2. The stage 2 is the pain and the guilt. And this can be stage 4, it can be stage 6, it can be stage 9. If you're one of those people who are going to add on other stages, well, who knew that there was a hate stage? As the shock wears off, as you move out of the shock and the denial, out of the no, to the, wow, this is really happening. This person doesn't call me anymore. And now this person has left me. They've moved out, they've taken their stuff, and now they're posting pictures with this other person, that person that was supposed to be me. You move into feeling and experiencing the pain because of the loss, because now this other person who they're with is living the life that you had dreamed of, fantasized of living, and your fantasy, your hope, your wishes, your dreams, your future is replaced with suffering. And the suffering, you feel it in your body. It's excruciating. You feel like your heart has been ripped out and someone stomped on it. They're burning it. They smashed it. All of that stuff. You feel that. You experience that through the emotions and the different feelings that you have. And although it feels unbearable, we've all lived through heartache and heartbreak, and we've all experienced loss. So we know that we have bared it. But in this moment, this experience with it, it's as if it's unbearable, even though we've experienced it a number of times in our past. But our mind is telling us, you can't bear this, you can't handle this. It feels unbearable. It's important to really be with it. If you're going to get through with it, you need to be with it. You need to feel the feeling until it no longer needs to be felt. And how long is that? Well, that depends on how much you allow and how much you don't allow to come in, how much you shut out and block off. So you may numb, you may run, and we get into this in the archetypes of the emotional abuse. I call it the stuffer bottler archetype, the numb and run. You may drink it away, you may pill it away, you may sleep it away. Different kinds of sleeping there. So you may try and hide because you don't like feeling this pain and feeling the guilt. What happens in all of these stages is there's an internalization process. It's my fault. Your mind begins telling you stories. The beliefs that are full of limitations and full of lack rise to the top, rise to the surface. You begin to experience those beliefs, and you begin to not like experiencing, feeling those beliefs. You're not good enough. You're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, you're not capable enough. All of those things that may have been buried for a long time and not felt, not seen, not experienced because you were so in love and because things were so good, are coming up like the cream is rising to the top. So you're experiencing them now, and they're causing pain, they're causing guilt, they're causing woulda, coulda, shouldas. You're shitting all over yourself. Well, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have not eaten that box of chocolates last night because they left me for someone who's skinnier. And so if I was skinnier, I would be skinnier if I didn't eat that box of chocolates last night. So maybe they would still be in love with me and not have left me. And then maybe we could still be going to Hawaii on our honeymoon, and I would be happy, and we'd never be here, and I would never be experiencing this pain. So your mind goes crazy, your mind goes haywire, trying to figure this out and trying to avoid having to feel all those things, which really it's just believing all the things that it believes about itself. The subconscious beliefs that are negative, that are full of lack, that are full of limitations are rising to the top, and they're in your face now, and they're causing pain. And a lot of us will try and numb and run and avoid feeling that pain because we don't want to feel it, because it feels scary, it feels crazy, it feels chaotic, it feels complex. Talk about this in other videos. And so you're experiencing the pain of that. And that's said to be number 2 of the stages of grief. Whether it is or isn't, you can argue that, that's fine. The next stage, they say, in the 7 stages of grief, or the 8, if you're including hate, is the anger stage, the bargaining stage. And a lot of people, especially Those in healing from emotional abuse and neglect, whether it was the parent who was the abuser, or whether it was the narcissist who was the abuser, the partner, the parent, whoever it is, the one that you're in relationship with, that you experience the loss of yourself from. And that's what's also happening. You're experiencing a loss and a disconnection from yourself in relationship to that person or that situation. It's like there's a piece of you that's left, that's gone, and you wonder, am I going to get that piece of me back? Like in the shock and denial stage, when it feels like your heart has been ripped out, it feels like that piece of you, that very, very important piece of you, is gone, is out there, is being controlled by someone else, and you want it back because you want yourself back. You want your self-trust back. You want your self-worth back. You want to feel whole. You don't want to feel like there's a hole in your chest, but you're often left feeling like there's a piece of you missing and feeling like there's a hole in your chest. And that leads to you feeling angry and bargaining. Well, let's just be friends. Doesn't work. That doesn't work like that. But you're feeling anger, and you're projecting that anger from all of the subconscious beliefs that you have, and the limitations and the lack and the denial and all that stuff about your health, onto that other person, or onto someone else, onto something else outside of yourself. And you're feeling the buildup of the frustration of all the things that you wanted and you were dreaming of and fantasizing about, that you're not going to be able to have those. So there's frustration. That frustration builds and builds and builds and builds, and it leads to anger. It develops, it becomes anger. It transforms into anger. And we often feel that anger inside of our body, right? How can you feel something outside of your body? Because you are your spiritual, emotional body. Your energetic body feels the anger. No one likes to feel anger. And so what do we do with it? Well, oftentimes we release it. We let it go. That bottled up emotion, especially of the archetypes of the stuffer bottler, the bottled up emotion gets projected out. We lash it out. And then we begin to blame other things for our loss. We don't want to accept the blame because maybe that means accepting that we're not perfect. What? Not perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. Perfection is perception. But we don't like that perception of ourselves. We want to feel and believe that we were worthy, we were good enough, we were pretty enough, we were skinny enough, that we were going to have that life that we dreamed of, that we desired. So we lash out and express our loss onto someone else or something else. And oftentimes we get in this anger, in this rage stage. And a lot of people get stuck in the anger and the rage stage for far too long. And that's what I think led to this 8th stage that someone created, the hate stage. And we can create all kinds of stages, right? There's no limit to the imagination. I can create a unicorn stage, and the unicorn stage means that everything is just fake. Everything is made up. Everything's a story. That's the power of the mind. It can create things from anything. And we create things because of our feelings, because of the beliefs that we have about ourselves. We ask questions about ourselves. Well, why me? Why does this always happen to me? And we believe this always happens to us. And we would believe that, we take on this identity, and we believe that we're just going to live this life that is what it is. And when we feel that, we feel powerless, we feel helpless, we feel a lack of control, and that leads to frustration because we feel like we're confined inside of a box, and that frustration compounds and builds up over time, and it leads to anger, to rage, to creating other stages. So whether there's 5, whether there's 7, whether there's 8, whatever it is, we get stuck in the loop, in the cycle, these questions. Well, why me? Why does this always happen to me? I want to find a way out. I want to regain my power. If you come back, I know that you said I had an issue with this. And if you come back, I promise I will never, ever do that ever again. And so you begin to try to bargain your way out of it, almost like you're at a store and you're trying to like get a better deal on it. If you come back, I'll stop doing this. I'll start doing more of this. I know that you said that you hated when I did this, and I get it. And I know I said I would change, but this time I really mean it. So you enter into the anger and bargaining stage, and maybe enter the hate stage, and maybe go back to the pain and guilt, and maybe you weave and flow through all of the stages. And there really is no number to any of the stages. Who says? Who created these numbers anyway, right? And then stage number 4, they say, is depression. Well, depression is compounded sadness. So you've been sad for a long time, and now it's compounded into depression. And in every stage, right? I don't know how this got the number 4, but reflection. Well, in every stage, you're reflecting. You're reflecting when you're experiencing the initial hit of the loss or the shock and denial. You're reflecting on the pain and the guilt, which leads to these other stages, which you feel sadness over time, which compounds and presents as symptoms of depression, and then loneliness. And boom, your greatest fear is triggered. The fear of being alone forever. If I'm going to be alone forever, and there's these long periods of sadness, and here's evidence and here's proof that I'm alone, and that means I'm unlovable and no one wants me, because if I was lovable and someone wanted to be with me, that person wouldn't have left me. And I'd be out having the time of my life like it seems like everyone else is doing. So these periods and these experiences and these feelings of sadness can overwhelm you and can consume you and can cause you to make actions and choices like not going out and self-isolating, or can cause you to do the opposite and go out and party and just hop into bed with someone else, thinking the best way to get over someone is to get under someone else, and cause you to spiral into a whole slew of making other bad decisions. So at that stage, the depression, reflection, and loneliness, we can feel that throughout all the stages. So how that got to be number 4 in its own self-isolated stage, I don't know. And you may hate someone else and you may hate yourself in that own stage. So see all these stages kind of combined into one giant big stage. It's not a platform you want to be standing on, the platform of loss, because there's internal subconscious beliefs that you have about yourself that anything good does not stay in my life. Anything good goes. If it's good, it goes. And now you're left with all the bad. No one wants to be left with all the bad. We want to all experience the good. So really, whether you go through all the stages, whether you go through all of them at once, whether you flow through them, whether you create your own stages, what you're really wanting is a connection that you've always wanted, is a connection to the belief, the internal subconscious belief that you are good enough, that you are worthy enough, you are lovable enough, you are capable enough, that you're not a letdown, that you're not a disappointment. And those beliefs begin to develop early on. And it's not just the loss of this relationship when say the engagement didn't go your way and the marriage never went through in your 30s. These subconscious and internal beliefs were seeds that were planted, watered, grew, developed over time. And now they're being exposed. And that's where the pain comes from. That's where the depression comes from. You don't just go from being totally in love and having your entire life planned out to being depressed. So these are things that develop over time. Does it take just as much time to rewind, to rewrite, to reprogram, to rewire? If you want it to, but why would you want it to? And that's where the healing and the tool and the method that you use can bypass and allow you to get through these stages much more quickly, with much more ease, with much more grace. So you don't go around creating other stages, a stage of hate. Why would you create the stage of hate and add an 8th stage to the stages of grief? Aren't the 7 that are there enough? Aren't the 5 that are there enough? See what we do? We create things. So if your mind has the ability to create new stages, doesn't it have the ability to create new beliefs about yourself? If the belief about yourself is that you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, and if you were, that person wouldn't have left you, and you'd be living the life of your dreams now. But what happens is a realization of this perceived magnitude of your loss. And you think it's over, I'm never going to get married. You go into this absolute way of speaking and way of thinking. I'm never going to get married. Who's going to want me now? I'm in my 30s. They were the one. And if they weren't the one, and I thought that they were, obviously my picker's broken. And so what am I going, how long is it going to take to fix my picker? Because I still want kids. I still want the white picket fence. I still want to get married. I still want to go to Honolulu for well, I can't go now because I was supposed to go there with them. So maybe we need to go to Fiji. Maybe I'm going to find someone who wants to go to Fiji, and we'll just get married there. You know what? We'll just live there. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. And your mind just goes haywire because you're experiencing what your perception of the magnitude of the loss is. It feels like a big, big loss. And it feels like the rest of your life is never going to be better than what you thought it was going to be. And so you isolate. And you get isolated and you get stuck inside these patterns and problems within your mind, and they're connected to subconscious beliefs that you have about yourself. And you don't know that. And so you feel like you're stuck in these stages forever. And that's why when you really, truly connect with yourself and you get to the very core and the very root of these, all of these other things can transform, change, and be exponentially different in much, much of a shorter time than you would think it is. So you move into the 6th and the 7th stage. You begin to move into 6th stage, what they say is the working through. And some people say, well, how long does it take to get over a breakup? Or how long does it take to get over a narcissist? Because I now realize that, you know what? I don't want to marry that person in the first place. I'm so grateful for this. And you begin to try and believe the lies that you have and the lies that you're telling yourself. And that's part of the problem, is that you believed lies about yourself. You believe that you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not lovable enough, that you are let down, that you're a constant disappointment. And those are the lies you believed about yourself. And you become so good at developing and creating these lies and believing your lies. And now you realize, oh my God, this is a total lie. Yeah. And so as you're working through this and reconstructing and rebuilding your life from what you thought it was going to be, and now it's new and it's different, and you can have experiences of going through the stages of grief of that as well. Well, I don't like this new different life, because when we lived together in a beautiful home and we were building the home, and now I'm stuck in this shitty apartment. And so you begin to work through these things and reconstruct, but your mind doesn't necessarily like all of that, because it's still experiencing the stages and grief of loss, because it's thinking, well, I shouldn't have to be doing this. It should have been that way. And again, there you go again, shitting on yourself. And you're finding yourself trying to connect with what you, again, believe should be a realistic expectation and a solution to this posed problem. Well, I'm just going to go out and get a new relationship or find a new job and just start all over again. F that person. And then you tell yourself, no, I'm working through this. It's fine. It's fine. I don't hate that person anymore. Why would I hate them? I just want them to be happy. And really, that's what you're saying that you want yourself to be. You want yourself to be happy. You want to move to stage number 7 or number 10 or however many more you're going to invent. I want to move to acceptance and happiness and hope. I just want to be happy. I thought I was happy with them. Clearly some things were off, and I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm trying to work on myself now so that I can accept the things that I cannot change and change the things that I can. Is that it? Is that what I'm supposed to do? And then you go right back into the anger stage, because maybe that's not what I'm supposed to do. And I'm so angry and I'm feeling frustrated because the frustration has compound, and now there's more anger and rage. Back to stage 3, or was it stage 1? And you may find that your mind is just like completely overwhelmed with this, because you thought you reached enlightenment or acceptance and hope. And now you've got this hope for a brighter future, because now you're not going out and spending as much money or spending as much time or energy. Now you're working on yourself and doing all the self-development stuff. And I finally reached the last stage. Hallelujah. And then you realize, I think I'm ready to date again. Oh, wait a minute. What if, no, back to stage 2, because now I'm feeling panic and fear. And now I'm in denial that any relationship is ever going to ever work out, because I thought this last one was going to work out and this one's not. And so see how you're stuck in all these loops and all these cycles, and it just seems to get bigger and bigger. Well, I thought I accepted this. I thought I moved on. I thought I got over it. All the things that my best friends told me to do. And I thought that I moved through all the pain. And I thought that I was actually at the stage where I was really looking forward to different things and planning things for the future. And I thought I was over the loss of that. But now I see that they've gotten through all these stages much faster than me, much easier than me, and I'm still stuck in it. And they've moved on, because I check up on them on their social media, and they have moved on to the happiness stage and the acceptance stage, and there's hope for a better future for them. Why have they moved through all these stages faster than me? Back to the hate stage. And you get stuck in this. I was just at the point where I was anticipating some better things happening for my life. And I was actually happy. Like, I'm going out, I'm making new friends, I'm having fun, and I'm experiencing joy again, and I'm finally living again. And they're out having fun. And it seems like they've been doing that for quite a while now. So what's wrong with me? Why have I not gotten to where they are? And now there's comparison, now there's judgment, and now there's limitation and lack, because of subconscious beliefs you have about yourself that say something is wrong with me. And you're feeling this internal dialogue and energetic pull through every stage that you go through. And that's really what you want freedom from. So how long do you have to stay in each stage? I don't know. How many stages are there? I don't know. It depends on whatever you resonate with. It depends on where you're at. It depends on your internal belief system. The belief system that you have about yourself. Is something wrong with you? Do you believe that you deserve this because it's the way it's always been? And are you surprised at this? Are you mad at yourself because you missed red flags the entire time? Where are you in all of this? Well, I can tell you the fastest way to transformation is to getting to the very core and the very root of what's truly going on internally and subconsciously, because that is what's having all of the stages play out. That's what having all of the good stages play out, the ability to move on or to let go or to process through this, to get to another stage and get out of being stuck in one and stopping from the ping pong into back and forth of being so frustrated and so angry and experiencing the rage, experiencing the jealousy, the comparison, the frustration, all of it, all of it. It all leads to the subconscious beliefs that you have about yourself. So how long it takes is up to you. The method you choose is also up to you. But I'm here to tell you, when you want to get to it very quickly, because you're ready to break out of it and you're ready to free yourself from the pain, the internal experience of the pain that you feel, from the feelings of pain, from the perception of the belief that you're never going to get through this, you're never going to get over it, and you're ready to get through this and get over it, the internal beliefs about yourself have to change, because there becomes this identity that becomes formed when you experience grief, when you go through loss. And this processing, it's almost like a sponge that's just soaking in and absorbing this, and you're ready to squeeze and wring it all out. Fastest and most effective way to do that is through the subconscious mind, because that's the 95% of your mind that holds all of that. So when that's changed, when that's shifted, when that's reprogrammed, it's like wringing that crap out of your mind, out of your body, out of your heart, out of your life. And that is what allows you to move into a different stage. So how fast is it going to happen? How long is it going to take? It really depends. It's up to you. You can continue to be in a stage, and then to try and feel better about yourself, create another stage that you get stuck in. But why would you want to stay stuck in any of those stages, right? You just want to go back to that stage that you were first in, the stage of experiences of joy, love, happiness, connection, compassion, kindness, forgiveness, acceptance. And you really want all of those for yourself. You really want to receive and experience those for yourself so that you can give those to someone else, because you can't give what you don't have to give. So when you're ready for that, I'd love to connect. You can find out more information in the links in the description below this video. Until then, create as many stages as you want, but know that you don't have to stay stuck in any one for longer than you want either.